Good morning and welcome to Industry Insights. My name is Gethin Roberts from ITERATE, a purpose-driven product design consultancy based here in the UK. And today I'm joined by Jaymie Thomas from AI Wales. Good morning, Jaymie.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Yeah, really good, thank you.
It's a
How are you
pleasure.
doing?
I'm good. It's a pleasure to have you. Thanks for joining the call.
No problem at all.
So I'm keen to jump right in this morning because AI is a subject that I'm also very passionate about. And I remember when we first met, which was a few months ago now, that you said to me that AI is still very new to lots of people, which is absolutely the case. But I was surprised to hear that you co-founded AI Wales 8 years ago, and this was probably at a time where nobody had even heard of AI.
Yeah, so quick backstory. I'm quite technical. I did my degree in computing. I've always been involved in software, and it was 2017, and I kept reading and seeing things about AI on BBC News. And of course, back then it was robotics. It was blue collar jobs that were going to be under threat. But I was like, I don't understand enough about what this is, and I felt that I should. So I got introduced to someone who did know this stuff. We had a coffee, and from that, we agreed to create this member community, which we have today. And it's just gone from there. So this was before generative AI, this was before ChatGPT, but AI itself has been around since the late 50s as a term.
So when you say you created a member community, what does that look like?
Yeah, so we do a few different things really, but our purpose is to spread knowledge and awareness of AI. That's become increasingly important in the last 3 years, as these are now sort of white collar jobs are in on the mix as well, with things like ChatGPT and other LLMs. But we offer formal talks and presentations to enable that understanding. We do practical hands-on workshops. We deliver training, whether that's sort of C-level management team or the sort of workforce teams, just to help them understand what they want to get out of using AI and look for those optimizations, which I'm sure we'll touch on later.
So what I'm really keen to understand is what in the UK, what is the current state of generative AI? Where are we at the moment?
So I think the UK is quite interesting because we have these ambitions of being an AI superpower. I don't know how realistic that is between me and you. We're very much following at the moment. We're inheriting what Microsoft turns out with OpenAI, what Google's giving us, what Anthropic is giving us with Claude. But still, it's exciting to see what we're able to do with that. So we consume these tools, and we have an exciting number of startups, even locally, in South Wales, where we've got some fantastic things going on by making clever use of those products, which I think for most of us, this is the real use of AI. We're not going to be making our own AI super systems, but we are going to be using these to sort of slot into our own businesses and ventures and benefit them.
So when we talk about AI, I mean, ChatGPT is the common reference point for a lot of people, but what are we referring to? Is ChatGPT what the majority of people believe is AI, or what does that broader terminology look like, and those platforms that you think people are starting to use and consider as being AI?
Yeah, it's quite a wide-ranging topic, AI. I think when we say it these days, we mean large language models, and that is your ChatGPT and friends. And these, just to put everyone on the same page, I'm sure most people know this already, but large language models are those which have been trained largely on the public content of the internet. So whether that's text, whether that's images, some audio, some video, but they look at those, they analyze them, they break them down into the key parts, which we can think of as being like syllables in words. And then when you give it a prompt or a question, it then does the same with that, breaks them down into these sort of syllable tokens, and then returns results that are referenced that it thinks are related to those. So these things can seem very coherent, they can seem very present. But they don't really know what they're telling you. They're just saying, I think the next word you need to hear is this. And it's all just sort of statistical modeling to return a result that incredibly sounds coherent. I mean, I use these things, many times every day, and you always get this sort of very logical, reasoned, thought out answer back from it. And sometimes it's even true what it tells you as well.
So an LLM then, large language model. So you've got various platforms like ChatGPT, like Claude, Perplexity, and they're all performing similar sorts of functions. So they're independent databases that have been created based on internet content, or how are they actually established?
So they have a lot in common in that they'll often use, the public internet as a source. Some of them will try and consume everything they can find. So these are your sort of OpenAI type approaches. There are more specialized niche ones, but the models, they're a bit like cars, right? They'll all get you from A to B, but it's kind of like how they'll get you there, what they can do, how fancy is it, how much does it cost. There's a lot of parallels there, actually.
Yeah.
And if you ever come to one of my talks, you'll often hear me talk about LLMs as being like the cartoon wacky races, because it's like whoever's in the lead at the start almost certainly won't be the one who wins at the end. But they're all there or thereabouts, So if you're using this for office work, so I use it to draft like a lot of
I think you're frozen there, Jaymie. I think that might be Storm Benjamin. Here we go.
Hello, am I back?
You're back. Yeah, just saying that must have been Storm Benjamin kicking at the time that we.
I did say it would wait till just after 11, didn't I?
Yeah.
So I use AI to generate a lot of template and draft documents to kind of get me sort of 85% there of the thing I need. That could be like a privacy policy or even an AI policy. And I could use almost any model for that, whether that's like Google's Gemini, ChatGPT, various versions. But I think for the purposes of certainly the stuff I do day to day, it almost doesn't matter which model I use. There are more specialized models. So if you're looking at scientific stuff, there are tools like Google's Notebook LM. So if the answer that the AI gives you absolutely has to be correct as per your sources, so you can load this thing up with sources that you want it to reference, it will then only use that knowledge base for the content it generates. So, but by and large, I would say for most of us, actually, you could choose these things based on price or how well it integrates with Microsoft Office or whatever your particular requirements are.
So my go-to is ChatGPT, and I've also dabbled around a bit with Claude and Perplexity. But have you got a favorite like go-to platform?
I do, but it allows me to access all of them. So it's called T3 Chat. We can put that link around later on. But what this is, it's a single interface through which you can use you can give it your text prompt. So think of it as a bit like an editor or a search engine, I suppose. But you can actually choose the model that you want to send that query to. And the reason why I recommend this so much is that it's $8 a month. And it includes then 1,500 messages in total to those different engines. So, I used to have my Claude subscription, my ChatGPT, something for Gemini. And whilst, even at $60, $70 a month, like these are fantastic value for what they can offer you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I can get most of that for $8 a month or £6 a month, which is, to me, that's absolute no-brainer.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And I think the way they do it at T3.chat, because they're just like a front end of these things, right? They're not, if it's an open source model, meaning that anyone can download it, they do host it themselves on their own servers. But then for things like ChatGPT, they go out to those servers, same as you would with your regular subscription. And really, it's just a great way to try different models before maybe you commit to one or you want to see what it can do. And in the program, it will tell you, this one can do reasoning, i.e. sort of deeper thinking and reasoning. It can accept and generate images. It can search the web. So it tells you which model does what, which is also super handy because, there are like 30 or 40 of these models in the system, different versions. So maybe like ChatGPT 4.5, 4, stepping back. But it's just a fantastic way to access all these different models for next to nothing, really.
So is that a legitimate platform then? Because I think that the prices there you just quoted are actually cheaper than if you subscribe directly to these platforms directly.
Yep. So T3 is made by a chap called Theo Brown. He's a YouTuber, came out of the Y Combinator program. He has a couple of startups, and they just do, it's a numbers game for them. They just presume that most people aren't going to get through 1,500 standard messages a month.
I see.
You also get 150 sort of deep thinking and reasoning messages as well.
Okay.
So because I think most people will buy it, keep it on hand like I do. like even I use it all the time, and I don't get through 1,500 messages a month. So I think it's a bit like the gym, right? They sign you up and then rely on you not going to make it work. But it's, it's very low risk. It's like month-to-month subscription, cancel anytime you like. It's like this is why I sing its praises, and I have done for the 6 to 9 months it's been around.
Wow, incredible. So in addition to your co-foundership of AI Wales, you also wear a few different other hats, don't you? So you're is it a director at Protect Insurance, CTO?
Yeah. So I'm the chief technology officer there. It's fractional or part-time, as we used to call it. So I'm there 3 days a week. Okay. And it's a really interesting business because it's not that big. There's like 25 of us. We are a brokerage, so we're not dealing with claims. We do sell commercial insurance, but what's been interesting for me is to look at ways that we can apply AI to that business. It's extremely human-led. Commercial insurance, particularly the types we do, this is like hard to place business. So this is not like you'll compare the markets and you're confused, where you can sort of self-serve. The business that we write is highly bespoke. Like I said, it's hard to place elsewhere. So humans come to our humans, and then we speak to humans in insurance companies and place the business. But that doesn't mean that we can't make use of AI. So 2 things that I can tell you about that we've implemented. The first is a policy comparison tool. So we have brokers who have to assess, the results from different insurance companies and then provide advice, because that's what we charge for, is the suitability of the insurance to your needs. And because these products are so complex, if you're looking at 2, 3, 4 PDFs, all with from different insurers with different layouts, with the same information but presented in different ways and different orders, the policy comparison tool standardizes that, puts it in a grid so that we can easily sort of cross-reference. Okay, that's the excess there. This is the sum insured there. But more importantly, so a lot of what we do is let property professional landlords. So they may have 10, 15, 20 properties on a single policy. And that's a lot of endorsements, because one of those policies might have like a flood risk or something. And it's up to our team to spot that and highlight it to the customer. And this tool makes that much easier. The reason I wanted to mention that tool to you guys today is because not only does it take our comparison time from like 35, 40 minutes down to like 5, 10 minutes. So it's a massive win for us. But the development of that was paid for by a scheme through the University of Bristol called Future Finance.
Okay.
This scheme is still open, but their funding stops after December. So if this sounds interesting to you, they paid the developer directly to build this for us, so we didn't need to be involved with the money side of things. You can claim $5,000, but for the sake of going through a company exercise with them, where they sort of help you assess your true priorities and what could be developed in the time. And then after that, they've got a catalog of developers. So if anyone wants to know more about that, get in touch with me after this, and I can put you in touch with the team there, and it's really good.
So it sounds as if you're saying it's undersubscribed at the moment. Is there key requirements or criteria for businesses to be able to access that? So do they need to be in insurance, for example, or is it?
Nope. I think it can be like, so the whole point of the project is for AI innovation. But that is one of the few requirements that are on there, and I found it very straightforward. They're great people. It's not tons of paperwork to apply for it. It's more, a meeting like this. So I thoroughly recommend people at least exploring it, because if you can, I think you can claim 5,000 in development costs and then 2,000 in follow-on support. It's such a good scheme, but it's just not being renewed after December.
Okay, so it sounds like you've managed to achieve some early wins in the company that you're at with AI. And so, like, what's the cultural impact of that? Are people starting to see, their jobs being threatened? Is it kind of created that sense within the organization?
I think if you're not following AI, you always have this concern, right? Especially at the moment, because you hear so much stuff. And if you hear about AI in the news, it's because it's being sensationalized in one way or the other, right? Either it's like taking all the jobs, or it's a bubble, it's all going to burst, and there's going to be this big societal detriment. I think the truth is probably somewhere in between. Okay, that there are some simpler jobs that I think are under threat. Certainly in Protect, I genuinely believe like that those jobs are safe, because we don't want robots doing this work. It's too complex, it's too niche, it's too bespoke. But even more widely, I think what I see is AI taking tasks. I don't see it taking whole roles.
Okay.
I'm not saying that won't change. These things are going to become more capable, and really what you see today is the worst it's ever going to be, right? They're only going to get better from here on in. I'm not an advocate for that. People assume because I run an AI member network that I want to, sort of AI all the things. That's certainly not the case either. We're very much about the safe and sensible introduction of AI, but they are productivity efficiency tools. And like everything, no one is forcing you to use them. No one's forcing you to have a smartphone, but most of us do because we see the advantages that are in them. Even if you just use it mainly as I call people on it, the fact that you can receive texts and you can do even smart voicemail, things like on iOS 26, things like that. So it's massively powerful. And the same is true with AI. Use as much or little of it makes sense to you and your business. But I think people do have this worry about, is this coming from my job? And I think that's understandable. I think in part it's realistic, but I don't see it as imminent. I think things like bookkeepers, I think I saw a video on that where it said the improvements with Copilot in Excel meant that job could easily go away. But if your job is typing information from one form into another, you can see how that would easily be automated. I don't think that would be a surprise to anyone.
Yeah, interesting.
But with all this stuff, AI abstracts us up a layer. Okay, so if you're a software developer, you're now more of a project manager or a lead developer, and you're reviewing the code it is creating. Perhaps the same isn't true of visual arts, because obviously you want that to be created by a person, but in most other situations, like in an office job as well, it enables you to move faster because a lot of that drudgery is taken away from you now. Like I mentioned, I did the privacy policy. When I did that, yes, I could have written that. AI wrote it better than I could. It wrote it faster than I could. I still read it and I still tweaked it and made it sound, like appropriate to the business I'm in. But I managed to do it in I think 1.5 hours, 2 hours, something like that. And that would have been like a whole day job otherwise, and I'd have to research what's the legalities around this and that. But it sort of pulled the information together, ready for me to work with. And I think that's for us, that's where the power of this is.
So it feels like at the moment we're still operating in quite a unregulated way, the US, China, well, all of us at the moment. So do you feel that we're likely to see more regulation come into force as maybe jobs change or organizations lose maybe large swathes of their employment force? Or do you think it's kind of likely to continue in the way that it has?
A little of column A, a little of column B, I suspect. So I agree that we should have regulation for certain things. The difficulty comes, as ever, as with anything else, is yes, we might do it, but what is China going to do? What is India going to do? What is Israel going to do? They're very tech forward. Iran, as a thriving startup community, are they going to have the same regulations? Are they going to follow it? And if the regulation slows us down and allows them to continue apace, albeit with risks, if we're talking about AI model development and the possibility of sort of container escape and these sort of terms that you hear, we need the regulation so that we understand what's going on and we can predict the output and we can say, yes, this is safe for this, or this is applicable for this industry. But if other countries don't, I mean, it's that this is not just an AI problem, right? This is a general technology problem. What if we slow this down and the others don't? We've had that since the Cold War, right? So,
okay. So, have you seen any particular instances where maybe AI has been badly implemented in a business, maybe through direct experience, or I can maybe think of one or two examples that have been reported in the media, but have you got any insight there?
I think it's easily done as well, right? Because it's born out of enthusiasm. Because someone sees it, possibly in the boardroom, someone comes in and says, "I've used ChatGPT on my phone. Let's now use this for everything." There was the famous example of Klarna, the credit company, who would sort of allow you to pay in 3 months or whatever, and they got rid of, I think it was like 300 service agents off the phones and just said, "Yeah, bots can do this." And I think within like 3 months, they'd actually rehired most of those people because they'd realized that yes, for very straightforward queries, bots can work out what's going on and what they
Mm-hmm.
need to do. But once you
Mm-hmm.
go beyond that, or maybe certainly something we've discovered in Protect, the second AI solution that I didn't tell you about was that we've introduced something that helps us analyze our phone calls. So with
Oh,
the
wow.
phone, our phone system is 6, 7 years old, and it wasn't new. It wasn't a new model then. So all we knew from that previously was this number phoned this extension for this long, right, at this time. But
Okay.
now, by using AI, we've transcribed our calls, which enables us to review them a lot faster. So when we're
Okay.
doing quality audits, you can see the content of this call much quicker.
Nice.
It allows us to be more compliant, but also we can now get sales insights into these calls as well. So we sell 3 different types of insurance,
Okay.
but we didn't know what insurance type was taking what time to service. And now by using AI, we can break these calls down. It auto labels things for us. So it's a broker calling, it's a policyholder calling. It was this type of insurance. This was the operation. It was a quote. Someone was cancelling a policy or making a change. So we can understand more about how we are working as a business that isn't just in the admin system, because we know how many policies get written. But now we can start making more sensible decisions about how we operate. Are we charging the right fee for this
Uh-huh.
tradesperson policy that we
Uh-huh.
sell? Might be like, say, £150. But if it's taking 2 hours of setup and to go through that, then we need to revisit. So yeah, but I think going back to sort of AI done bad again. I always AI is just the next technology, right? And there's a lot of buzz around it at the moment. And those of you who've been in business for 10 years, you'll remember the big data bubble back in like 2015, 2016, where someone had like an access database of 200,000 records, and they said that was big data. And it was all like the hype term for like about a year, and then it kind of went away. And I genuinely think this is where we're going with AI. And in 2 or 3 years, we probably won't call it out by name, and it'll
Yeah.
just be this sort of background layer that just enables the stuff to happen like it already does, like when we order off Amazon, when we use Waze or Google Maps to get somewhere.
Yeah.
This is all AI behind the scenes, giving you a custom journey, even though it feels like everyone's going the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Its job is to get the group there as fast as it can. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it'll just sort of fall back and be that sort of that background layer once again. It's just having a bit of a moment largely because of LLMs.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so it sounds as if you're, way ahead of most businesses that I certainly see in terms of implementing AI within the companies. But what would you say to businesses that maybe have an appetite to change their processes, enhance their productivity through implementing AI, but maybe haven't started out on that journey? I mean, because it is quite easy to become overwhelmed by everything that is available, and the speed that it seems to also evolve at as well. So
Mm.
practically, where do people start?
So you're absolutely right. If you think AI is overwhelming, yes, well done, because it is. Even those for those of us trying to keep up with it week to
Yeah.
week, it's going at such a pace. But I think the good news is, if you're not doing anything with AI yet or not doing much, don't panic. Like there's no
Okay.
hard requirement to have done this by this date. In a lot of ways, you've made the smart move because these technologies have matured now. You can refer to other examples of how other businesses have done it. You can learn from the mistakes they made and sidestep them. But also, it's not, you don't need to say, well, by January, by next quarter, we'll have, AI'd our business completely. It's like you can just
Mm.
start small. You can just try something. Even just having your staff have an understanding of what's possible and using it where it makes sense, that's a major win for your business. I think once you've understood that, you've looked at what's possible. You use AI often with a lot of automation. So there are platforms like Zapier and NA10 that
Yeah.
allow you to take when I get an email into this box, take this action. So that's more automation, but you can put AI in there and make some decisions like, is this a sales inquiry? Oh yeah, it looks like it is. We need to route it to the right department.
Mm-hmm.
Or surface the important things in your inbox, or optimize a spreadsheet. Or there are tons of small examples of places you can start. I think it's important to be aware of cybersecurity. This is the next
Okay.
technology, but the same things apply. One thing that AI does enable is better language and communication. So this now means there's very obvious spam and phishing emails you used to get can now come to us in perfect British English, so they can look very compelling. So it's worth maybe having a refresher with your staff as well, and just making sure that they're aware of, a high quality email can now be a false email or a phishing email as well.
Yeah.
Okay. And just take it step by step, really. There are loads of examples on YouTube of almost anything you would want to do. You mentioned about the pace of change. We now have AI assistants in browsers. So Perplexity made one called Comet, and OpenAI has just released theirs, which is called Atlas. And these are still very experimental. And again, you don't need to switch from your regular Chrome or Edge or Safari browser to use these. But if you want to, you can. And the reason why you might want to is if you're on, we can be on any website, and then it appears as a sidebar, and then whatever questions you ask, it relates to the content of that site. So it might go off and either pull it from its database if it's already imported that website already, or go to it live and help you understand it. So a quick example of that might be if you go to something like, I don't know, Expedia, right? Just as a large company, or Microsoft would be another good example. And you want to know something, and the information is in there somewhere, but you just cannot find it, right? If you've ever done a Microsoft exam, you'll know my pain on this, because trying to find the bit that relates to the course you're doing is sometimes very painful. Using the AI browser, you can just ask it, where is the Power BI exam material? And it will go off and return that for you. More powerful examples, OpenAI demoed one last week when they added apps as a feature to their ChatGPT LLM. You can do things like, now they integrate with Expedia or Booking.com, I think it was. You can now say, like, I'm looking for a hotel in London. I want it to have a pool available on these days. And it must have air conditioning in the room. And at the minute, there's a lot of parallels between when we used to Google something and go through the results ourselves and using an LLM to give us the right links. The same is true here, right? Because you go on Booking.com, Expedia, any of those now, they kind of just go, here's all the results, you do the work, right? We'll let you filter and sort, but you work out if it's appropriate. No, you don't need to do that anymore. So AI can help with tasks like that as well.
Wow, I hadn't realized that. That is incredible, because we're just coming up to the final few minutes, and my closing question really was, what is the next big leap in AI? What do you potentially see that being? And what you just outlined there maybe answers that question already, or maybe it doesn't. I mean, you've probably got much more visibility as to what is coming down the track through your experience with AI whales. But so can you kind of outline maybe what you think the next 5 years potentially looks like, or maybe predicting that length of time, maybe even a challenge in itself, maybe the next 12 months. What does that look like, do you think?
I think you're right. If I could predict the next 5 years, I think I'd be very rich in 5 years. But I think the trends I'm seeing, there's a lot of talk about AGI, artificial general insurance. That will continue to be an aim. That's basically one AI that you can use for everything, right? So the minute they put that inside like a humanoid robot, you've got the ultimate assistant that could do anything. I think that'll be a pursuit. I think what we'll see in the near term are more specialized models to help businesses, maybe even by sector. Maybe there'll be a specific thing that helps, say, aviation, or public transport, or offices, and I think you'll continue to see these products now specialized. Now that the LLMs are known for, you can ask Claude anything, you can ask ChatGPT anything, but at the minute, the differentiation between them is when you start asking them for more specific things. And if it's like, say, coding, one week Claude Code is in the lead, the next week ChatGPT is in the lead. But I think we'll see a further refinement of that, where on an industry-specific basis, you'll start seeing these models that come out that are extremely good at a very narrow thing. And that's where businesses will adopt them, I think, because that feels then like the model or the AI for our business, for our sector.
I see. Okay, thank you. So we're up to the half an hour already. I always find these sessions are probably too quick. So thanks very much for your time this morning, Jaymie. So if people are interested in maybe attending AI Wales or contacting you directly to carry on the conversation, what's the best way that they can get in touch or find out about AI Wales?
Yep. So you can join the member community. It's free. We're on meetup.com. If you just Google AI Wales, do you remember Googling? If you do that, we'll come right up. You can reach me at jay@aiwales.org. And I know, Gethin, you'll share that later on as well. And really, we're across Wales. We have 3 chapters, one in Cardiff, one in Swansea, and one now in Wrexham as well.
Oh, wow.
And there's always something going on. We do informal AI drop-in sessions in the daytime. We do this once a month. It's just 3 hours. You come along for as long as you want. If it's 20 minutes on lunch, you're very welcome. No agendas, no talks. We just get together in small groups and just talk about AI. So it's a chance for you to bring ideas, questions, opinions, and people find those really good value. And we love meeting people as well. So, but we put it all on meetup.com. So whatever we're doing is on there.
Okay.
And equally, if you want us to come in and talk and help your business, just help you understand how to start that journey, how to implement something, please get in touch.
Okay, yeah, brilliant. Thank you. So what we'll do is this has been streamed live on YouTube, and we'll also post some extracts of the video on Instagram and LinkedIn. And so we'll tag those details in. So if anybody does have any questions following up from this, then you'll have visibility of those. And, we welcome people to carry on the conversation. This is meant to just be a short, insightful discussion that hopefully can lead to potential collaboration for everybody that's managed to join today. So also thanks again to Jaymie, but also for everybody who's joined the session this morning. We'll be running another industry insights session this time next month. We have got a couple of exciting speakers lined up, but if you are interested in joining Industry Insights at another date, please let me know. We're always looking for people that want to talk not just about AI, but maybe design, manufacturing, any element of business that's related to that. Then please get in touch. And thanks very much, and thanks again, Jaymie.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.